Hi, and welcome to Kids Can Play Tabletop Games Online. This is episode 4. My name is Deeth Elza. I'm a digital services technician with the Richmond Public Library. Glad you could join us. Today we're going to be talking about resources to make the game life easier for the person running the game, whether you call them a game master, dungeon master, referee, the person who is setting up the role-playing game for everyone to play. So one person typically runs the world and all the creatures and people in it, while all the other players each have their own specific character to play. So setting up all of that can be a lot of work, and helping make sure that it's a fun story for everyone can involve creating maps and adventures and organizing monsters and naming all of the creatures and non-player characters, all the people that the players encounter in the game. And so there are a lot of tools to help make that easier. And so we're going to look at some of those today. Paradigm design. So as usual, everything that I show you will have links in the description of this video. So this is a great source for free maps, and there's quite a wide variety. So each one has a key. There's nothing tied to the key, but then in your notes you can say in room 2 there is a group of kobolds planning something nefarious, or whatever you want for your game. Some of these get quite involved. If you need a big dungeon that's going to last for many sessions for your players to explore, they do have you covered there. And there are, again, lots of variety, and many of the maps are going to start triggering ideas in your head when you see that the stairs lead down to into the water and then up again out of the water. What is in that water? So there's going to be having some interesting maps goes a long way towards getting your creative juices flowing and creating an interesting adventure for the players. There are actually lots of sources of free maps. This one is on called fantasticmaps.com, and it has free dungeon tiles. And tiles and geomorphs are pieces of maps, usually little square pieces that you can rotate and put together in lots and lots of ways to get random or interesting maps. This free starter map set downloads a zip file with 4 maps for an inn and a cliff and a cave entrance. So, lots of things to get you started. I love these because they are very pretty. They're very they're watercolor and very nicely designed. All of the maps are images that you can import if you use a tool like Roll20. You can bring these maps into that program and display them for your players. Nice evocative shipwreck there. All right. Now, the king of all map sites has got to be Dyson Logos' map archive. Dyson has been creating beautiful old school style pen and ink maps for a long time now. And there are hundreds of them on his site. There are geomorphs that you can twist and turn to make lots of different types of maps. There are dungeons, there are cave complexes, there are towns, cities, shipwrecks, you name it. You're going to find so much here. You want an inn, there's an inn. You want a dread shrine of a magi, towers, ruins, all sorts of different things. And we can go on and on just on this site. I want to show you just a few highlights. So one thing is, in addition to the maps that are on this page, he also has links to more maps that aren't even on this page. Dyson's Delve 11-level dungeon complex. Geomorphs. So again, you can assemble in different ways. And some of the different kinds of maps here. So these are some of the geomorphs, and he has a link to a mapper and a generator that will automatically assemble a bunch of these geomorphs into a bigger dungeon, and even stock the dungeon. So it'll give you a starting point on having a fully fleshed out dungeon for players. Huge, huge maps, some of them. Look at this. The detail in this is just amazing. You can come up with so many adventures out of this. He has some that are isomorphic, so you can actually see how the different levels of a dungeon fit together, and one place leads to another. Some of them have side views where you can also, again, you can see the different levels and how the stairs all connect and interrelate, how you get from the tower down into the dungeon, all of that. Beautiful detail. All right, that's all of the maps for now. Then there is this site. So this is actually not the Dungeon Dozen site, but this is a fan of Dungeon Dozen. So Dungeon Dozen creates little random tables. Each one has 12 things. And so you can roll a 12-sided die that is standard in a lot of role-playing games. And to get something off of that is random. There are NPC encounters for different levels of a dungeon. There are, what you find when you loot a creature's body. There are rumors. There are what are the creatures up to at any given time. Random items. And so this site links to all of those and kind of organizes them, because the actual Dungeon Dozen is a blog, so it's kind of random what is where and how to find something. So somebody has gone through and indexed all of those wonderful encounter tables and things. So let's see. Let's just find one at random. And so in the city, hard times for the city folk. So roll a d12, you get a 1. It's extortion by a coven of powerful witches. Poor attack. Roll an 8. It's a poor attack strategy by the city guard. There's now a black pudding infestation, but the population has grown used to it. Just so many ideas and jumping off points for adventures, and it just goes on and on. So if you want to involve a sorcerer, there's a ton for sorcerers, several for liches, all sorts of random ooze for monsters, semi-unknown were things if you get tired of werewolves and were-rats. So much to jump off from here. Lots of inspiration for your adventures. And then Strollin Citadel, if anything, even more so. So Strollin Citadel has articles that are inspirational or informative or just entertaining about that all relate in some way to these role-playing games, but often, like Terminator, Hobbs and Shaw, these are all often they'll talk about pop culture things, but usually how would that relate to a game? And they have dungeons, and the dungeons are sometimes simple graphics, sometimes more complicated sets of rules for creating a dungeon, ideas for a dungeon, descriptions of a dungeon without even having a map or anything. Just so many different things. Ideas for items, magic items in your game, for life forms, for locations in your game, for non-player characters, for plots, for organizations, for systems. So many ideas. And Strollin Citadel is really great for not necessarily the specifics, but certainly for the ideas to get started with. The last resource for today, I just wanted to, our little whirlwind tour, is called Donjon. And Donjon is a randomizer, so it gives you lots of different random things. You can come up with random fantasy name generator. You can have a fantasy calendar generator, a fantasy world generator. So this is a 5th edition random dungeon generator. So you can give it a name if you like. You can pick what level the dungeon is in, how big your party is. You can pick a motif. I'm going to say undead. If you do the same random seed each time, you will get the same dungeon. We can go map style. I'm going to go with, let's try steampunk. I don't remember what that's like. You can have square, hex, vertical hex, or no squares, no grid. Dungeon layout, I'm going to go with, sure, saltire, sure. Oh no, let's go with round, cavernous, maybe. Let's see. Dungeon size goes from fine to colossal, and then custom. Fine is a fairly small map, but you're going to see in a second it's not that small, and then it just from there goes on and on. So you can get really, really big. It actually takes a while to generate the bigger ones. So here we go. I'm going to construct. So there's our tiny dungeon, and if we go back and make it, let's make it rectangular, and what did we say before? That was tiny. That was fine. Let's just do a small dungeon. There, that's a small dungeon for it. So this is, you know, dozen or so rooms, and it doesn't just give you the map randomly, but it gives you some history, what the walls are made out of, how it's illuminated, and then random tables for the corridors, for wandering monsters, and it stocks every room. It tells you how each door works, what features are in the room to make it unique, and what monsters, what treasure, and so you can actually have an entire dungeon adventure this way. I would use this as an inspiration. I probably would not directly use whatever it randomly generates, but I would use that as a starting off point, and then based on the world I'm running and the adventure that has already been ongoing with my characters, I would probably make some adjustments, but it gives you a lot to start with. And you could just run it as is, generate a few different ones. You can randomly generate dungeons until you come up with one that you like and just run that as is. There's nothing wrong with that. So this is this one's taking a while. I'm not sure how big that is. I just clicked random. It's row 900 of 1,000. Okay, so there is a large cave complex, all fully stocked with monsters and treasure, and even some backstory. So that is just one of the tools on Donjon. Okay, so there's a fractal world generator if you want to create an entire planet. So much here. I like the generic fantasy generators. There's a medieval demographics calculator. I'm not even sure what that does. Random campaigns. So you can generate your whole campaign here. Random adventure, random dungeon. That's basically what we saw. The adventure, it gives you a theme, a goal, story hook, plot, a bunch of villains, some encounters, how the chase works, what they're looking for. It's, again, this is a site you can explore a lot. Generate a town randomly. There's a specific set of just 5th edition generators for magic items, monster lists, spell sheets, an initiative tracker. It's, there is so much here in all of these sites that you can explore and generate ideas so that you can easily, without spending tons of time of prep, you can come up with an adventure for your players that everyone's going to enjoy. So that concludes my rapid fire tour today of a bunch of tools to make it easier for the game master to run a fun adventure without a lot of preparation. I hope that's been useful, and I hope you're having some great games. So keep on playing, and I will see you next time.